The only thing I'll have, it's funny, we did all that talking and never got in the Chappelle show. Ain't that crazy?
We wanted to.
Never got in
We wanted to.
Say that again?
I was going to ask you that, but we kind of moved, forward from that. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it's the Chappelle show. The Chappelle show. Talk a little bit about that. We got time.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was Dave stand-in. I was. It's funny how I got on this show because my homegirl was messing with some dude. He came to spend the night, but he wanted to. I guess the sex was good, so he wasn't trying to leave. He like, yo, and that was like my little sister. And his homeboy was like, yo, you want to go work on this video? I go up there, Chappelle show. I was his stand-in because one day his stand-in moved from his seat and I sat down. But on top of that, the casting director knew I used to act. So Dave would let me, and as a stand-in, I would actually read the script and go through all the motions of everything that he would do. And most of the best material you guys didn't see because it was on the cutting room floor. Most of the most racy material, the white dude Neil Brennan wrote. That's why Neil and I had like this kind of we had this rapport. It was like kind of from Seinfeld, Newman and Jerry. It was like Jerry, Newman. That's how him and I would be. Because the most racist material, I knew that Neil wrote it. So, and I was the conscious brother on set. So I would say to Dave Chappelle's face, I would take a little bit of credit for him having some conscious light because I was on set. Because everybody knows Dave Bradley's some conscious dude. He on that black consciousness. And I remember Dave and I had a deal because Dave reached a point where he was frustrated because he would do a scene, but everybody would laugh. All the white people, everybody on set laughed. It was only about 6 brothers on the set. And then one day, I would also do his playback, which I would record him perform and then pause. He would come watch himself and then do it a different way. And then he came back talking to the executives and the director. He was like, yo, I don't know. And they're like, what's going on? He's like, you guys are laughing at everything. I don't know what's funny anymore. And they were like, oh, David, you'll be all right, David. You'll just trust your instinct. And they walked off. So he stood there. So I had never really spoken to him before, except for one time about half a year before when I told him, yo, this show's going to be a hit. And he was like, yo, it better be because it's all I got. And then I said, listen, man, I think I overheard you. I think I can help you out. He said, what? I said, look, it's easy for me to be a hater. It's easy for me to look at someone and not be impressed with you. I said, so here's what I'll tell you. Since I'm back here anyway, you do your thing. Look, when you finish, look back. If I'm laughing, it was funny. But if I'm looking at you like you ain't shit, that shit was funny than a motherfucker. And that's what we did for the rest of the first season. He would be on set. He would do his shit. He would look back. If I'm laughing, he knew like, okay. But if he saw me just ice grilling him, he would know that was his cue to know that it was funny as shit. So that was the rapport that we had. Charlie Murphy would school me because I never understood why Dave would never put me on the show. But Dave understood that I wasn't a buffoon actor. I'm not Ashy Larry. I'm not the pimp. He knew that. But it took Charlie Murphy to pull, he used to call me Youngblood. And then he pulled me to the side one day and told me, like, you're going to get your chance. Talking about how Dave, he said, come here, Youngblood, let me explain something to you, man. He said, you know what? Dave been working for 13 years to get his own show. And when you first get on, you want to get yours. And the other people that's talented, you let them come on later on. Don't worry about it, Youngblood. You're going to get your turn. And that was our convos. And I have photos with Charlie and all of them. And then Dave, near the end of the season, one day came to me. He saw me at catering. It was just me and him in the hall. And he walked up to me and said, hey, man, I hear you want to do your own comedy show. And I said, yeah, I'm right. And he was like, well, let me give you a few pointers of advice. Always do all your creativity first and let the editors, let the censors censor it because that's what their fucking job is. So by the time they censored me, I got what the fuck I wanted anyway. And I was like, wow. And then the last thing he said to me, he got a stern look. He said, and always remember this, no matter how successful you get, no matter how much money they offer you, and he pointed to my chest. He said, don't ever, ever, ever give up your integrity for a fucking paycheck. Always keep your creativity. And I was like, all right. He said, always remember that. No matter what they offer you, you stand your ground. And I just was like, all right, Dave. And then he said, next season, I'm going to try to work you in some of these skits. I said, okay. But I went on to do another show instead. And then a year or so later, when he left, I said, oh, shit. Because he was going through it. His wife was pregnant. She was going through a difficult pregnancy. His kids were little. When the show first started, it was like, Dave, get your black ass to set. When the money came, it was like, Mr. Chappelle, could you please come to set? And everyone changed. So he's trying to be creative, but he's got a TV executives pulling at him. He's got his family, his friends. The game is changing. He ain't into fame in the first place. Now is that almost like that Amy Winehouse shit, where it's like that's not what I wanted. So I watched him be miserable. He was miserable as fuck by the middle of the first season. That's what made me say Dave Chappelle's not funny in real life, in person. He never made me laugh. Charlie Murphy's funny as shit in person, but Dave was never funny. He was always down and depressed. Always just walking around sulking.
Wow.
So there's stories for days, brother. Stories for days about Chappelle's show and other shit.
Are you still cool with Chappelle now?
I haven't seen Dave in so long, but my daughter's godmother said she ran into him and she said he remembered me. She said she brought because I think she thought I was lying about some of the stuff I told her, and she tried to check me. She said, "Nah, he remembered you." So I haven't seen Dave in forever. I haven't, seen him in forever. So this is one of them stories where nothing I just told you is true, but it's exactly what happened.
I'm going to ask you real quick. Here's the last question I got for you about. We had Miguel Nunez here yesterday. We did an interview with him.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about him and Joanna Man, and we brought up a question since you've been behind the scenes, kind of working with a lot of these different people. Do you think there's an agenda, for Black men to be emasculated, in particular wearing a dress or playing a homosexual role?
Joanna Man, that's pretty Ricky for Martin. That's what they call it.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty Ricky. I don't remember Joanna Man. I don't recognize that film. Is there an agenda? Yes or no? Because there's an agenda because it's all about power. But the whole getting the men to dress up in dresses, that's not really a Black thing. If you look at Hollywood, they've always done that with men. Like, think about it. Robin Williams blew up after Miss Doubtfire. Even more than he already was. True. So they do that in Hollywood. Sometimes it's like what I tell Black people, if you step back and out of the emotion of the melanin-laden emotion of Blackness, they do it to their own. So if I beat my own daughter, what makes you think I'm going to treat your child any better?
Word.
So is there an agenda? Yes and no. I mean, Hollywood is meant to send messages. That's what they're there for. Just like everything that's going on right now. They told you about it. They told everybody about what was going to happen. That's why they gave you Avengers Endgame. That's why they gave you Doctor Strange. That's why the Multiverse of Madness is coming out. Because, everything that's going on now with the coronavirus. You're told this. Like, did you know that in Italian lore that there's a Saint Corona and that her feast of, I think it's called her festival, which is Feast of Days, is on May 15th?
Wow.
Now, some say that she's the saint patron of pandemics. I don't go with that. All I know is that her festival is on May 15th, May 14th. My daughter's birthday is May 15th. The festival is May 14th. So we're told a lot of this, a same thing with the coronavirus. I encourage people, the men in our communities, turn the TV off for a minute. I know, let's listen, let's put the gloves on and the face mask, even though as a Black man in America, I'm not wearing no face mask. I trust Corona over racism every day of the week.
Damn,
sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, just get to studying, because the men in our community, where they at? The women and children, y'all want to panic and listen to the news, fine. But as men, we supposed to be trying to find solutions. And all I see, now I get what Black women were talking about when they be beasting on these niggas out, these weak ass men out here. We supposed to be finding solutions. We supposed to be looking up the herbs and so forth and so on. Like I had to explain to my daughter. And I had to explain to my daughter the difference between an RN envelope virus, which the coronavirus is, and a non-envelope virus. You feel what I'm saying? The average person don't even know what an envelope virus is, which is what this is. This virus embeds itself in the membranes, the soft tissue of its host, your body. A non-envelope virus creates a calcium callus around it. So the envelope virus, which is what this coronavirus is, actually can be cured very quickly. You just have to have the proper lifestyle. Now, if you walk around eating non-organic foods and fried chicken and soda every day, you're going to get fucked up. If you have a predisposed condition like asthma or high blood pressure or things of that, or you have a low immune system, you've got to really, 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 really be careful. But for everyone else, it's really a lifestyle. And if you get it, the pH balance of the coronavirus is between 5.5 and 8 something. Well, the pH balance of an orange, which is what vitamin C is like 9.5. So you just get fruit that are high in acidic value. Oranges, lemons, mangoes. You go eat plant-based
avocado,
food.
yep.
And how do I know this? Because I had to walk through it. And I did it in a week.
Wow.
I did it. I got sick the week before it was a pandemic because when I came back to school, all my students were making fun of me saying I had the coronavirus. Because this is the week when no one really took it seriously. And by Wednesday, they had shut that school down. Then I went to my hometown. By Friday, school was over. And the week before, I played basketball. I got sick Sunday night because my chest was burning. But I normally keep peppermint leaves in my water. I live like this. So to me, it was like, okay. And then I didn't go to work Monday. And then Tuesday, I forced myself to go to work. I played basketball. I was sweating so much that it looked like somebody threw me in the pool. Got home that night, took another hot shower. Felt like somebody beat me with a baseball bat. Did not let myself get out of bed Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I took hot showers. I sweated that shit out. By Saturday, I was over the flu part of it, but I still had a little cough. But I contributed that to the fact that with my shoulder tear, I took the smoking weed as a medicinal medicine. I never stopped smoking weed during that. So, and I thought that was the only reason why I still had a cough until